speaking of movies, you and Jen are watching every Star Wars movie in the order that they were released or in chronological?
Chronological. I'm so
Ooh,
excited for this. I turned on Jedi last night. I've been
chronological.
watching Star Wars a lot. Not a lot, but I watched Empire the other night, and then I fired up Jedi. And she sat down. She's like, "I'll watch this," and she really liked it. And she's like, "I haven't seen this in like 20 years." So she's like, "We
Oh,
got to watch them all in order. What order did they come out in?" And I was like explaining like, "Oh, it started off Phantom Menace, and that she's like, "Oh, the ones with Natalie Portman." I was like, "Yeah, she was in a few of them." And she's like, "Oh, I remember those. Yeah, let's watch them." So I'm really excited to watch them because I've only seen the prequels once myself, and that was in the last year with Disney Plus, and she hasn't seen them since they came out. So we're gonna watch everything,
oh
including Rogue
wow.
One and Solo. We're gonna put in there, and we're gonna do the whole. I've never seen Solo, so we're gonna put the whole thing in there.
Solo's really good. Like
Yeah, you were
Solo
saying.
doesn't even have to be a Star Wars movie, and it's good. I mean, Woody Harrelson's in it and Chewbacca's in it. Like that,
Yeah, come on, I'm
it's
sold.
pretty
They
good.
could be reading tax returns, and I'd be like, done.
And I want to tell you, the kid who plays Han Solo is awesome. He's so good.
Is
And
he?
yes, I thought so. I totally bought into him right away.
Nice.
And
Well, if you like it, then it holds water. It holds dick water.
yeah, I was stunned by how it flopped, even though it made like 400 million. That was considered a flop.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Some
and
flaw.
did you watch Mandalorian on Disney Plus?
Love it.
Okay,
Love the
cool.
whole thing.
Oh God, that show is so good.
Season two. John Favreau. Anything he touches is gold. He's like the Dave Grohl of film. Anything he does is just like good.
Dude, it's like he right now has the imagination of the primary consuming demographic.
Yeah.
The people right now who are buying and spending. He knows what we want to go see to escape, you
Totally.
know.
Iron Man. Like, I mean, everything he does is great.
Have
And
you have you been watching the Mandalorian documentary on Disney Plus
no.
called Gallery?
I'm
Oh
actually not even aware
man,
of that. I don't know if
holy
I saw that. I didn't
shit.
watch it, but I should check it out. What is it?
First couple episodes are really just like an homage to George Lucas, basically, while talking about getting the show up and running. And then in episode like 3 or 4, they explain this new technology that like Favreau basically invented by like
Really?
piecing things together. Dude, you have to
Nice.
watch it.
I'm all about that.
They film that show in like a garage, but the tech that he has, it can make it look like they're on a planet, like on in the desert.
Real see, that's awesome. That's like
Taika,
that's innovative.
Taika Waititi was like, there were moments where we're filming and I had to like stare to make sure I could find where the screen starts and where like real life
See,
ends.
that's amazing. That's why Star Wars is so good. I mean, besides the storyline and the characters, the technology they used, even as cheesy as you think the original unedited or unre-edited version of New Hope is, that's very impressive. Like watch Return of the Jedi, some of those scenes for 1982, 1983.
Yeah.
It's
No. 80.
That's what I think George Lucas did very well with. You know how he re-edited some of the scenes later on, like he used Hayden Christensen at the end of Jedi using new technology, and it worked respectful to the storyline. Done. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I'm curious
No,
about,
it's
but
crazy because when they did that at the time, I was like, what the fuck? Luke doesn't know that kid. Why did they do that?
right.
But then George Lucas explains, the movies are about Anakin. They're not about Luke. It's about Darth Vader. And that is Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi Knight, not the guy in the suit, the Sith Lord Darth Vader. Like that person won't become a Force ghost. Anakin will before he became Darth Vader. I was like, oh, that's right. I guess you would
Wow.
know. You invented it.
I had it. That was one of my questions. Was was it young, good-looking Hayden Christensen as the Ghost, and not deformed old Vader, the Sith
Right.
Lord. But
It's
that
like
makes sense.
it's a completion arc for that character, not for the old man that was the villain.
Anakin, he's a
Right.
fallen angel. He's a
Mm-hmm.
fallen angel.
Yes.
Yeah, we watched Return of the Jedi. We're gonna rewatch them. We're gonna watch them in order.
My favorite. Okay, so for the prequels, again, every Star Wars trilogy like pushes technology. It's just bizarre how Lucas is so innovative. It's insane.
Yeah.
Because even in the prequels, at the time, this was like holy shit. Like this CGI on that grand a scale was just amazing. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and in the prequels, every one have moments of just awesomeness. Just
With Mace Windu and Palpatine, how
oh
he
my
became
god.
deformed. That scene,
Oh,
you're like
dude.
sweaty.
Uh, I mean, even Dooku and
Sweaty
Yoda in the second one, and then Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace. Oh my god, it's
And
insane.
E.T. in Phantom Menace.
You mean Jar Jar Binks?
No,
The
E.T.
worst character.
E.T. the extraterrestrial has a cameo in Phantom Menace.
Oh, that's right. He's like in the crowd or something.
He's in the Senate, one of the Senate pods, in the
Oh,
Senate
right.
scene.
Yeah, that's
And if you
right.
remember
He has a hood
E.T. the
on.
movie, when E.T.'s out for Halloween, you remember when E.T. he sees a kid dressed as Yoda, and they both look at each other, implying they're from the same universe. So that was like Lucas and Spielberg throwing each other bones in their movies.
I knew that, but I forgot it, and my mind was blown again.
It's just amazing they threw that in there. It's because I watched it last night, which is why it's on my mind. I've only seen the movie once. I didn't see E.T. when I
Okay.
watched it the first time, but I read an article last night about E.T. Wild Friday nights here in L.A. And they were talking about how they threw, like Spielberg and Lucas threw each other bones and did these little inside joke in the movies. And so I watched the scene in Phantom Menace on YouTube, and I was like, oh shit, they put E.T.'s like his race
His
in there.
species, yeah, his race, yeah, and they had like hoods on, so you could like barely tell, but it's clear, and it is ET. That's so
Crazy.
good. So
But
yeah, in the prequels, there are moments that will get you through all of them because there's some slow as fuck parts and not the best dialogue, and Yoda's amazing in the prequels.
So good.
And forever, my favorite was Return of the Jedi. Now looking back on it, I understand why most say Empire, because if I was like a teenager when Empire Strikes Back came out, I would have been seeing that movie every day the entire summer.
Can you imagine?
Like with the crisscrossing
Totally.
and the double crossing and just the Han
sets.
Solo and Boba Fett and the bounty hunters and Hoth.
Oh yeah.
Dagobah, Yoda shows up. It was just so good. But I always loved Jedi. I'm pretty sure because of my age.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I think Jedi is my favorite. I think it's the best one as far as scenery and plot. I mean, they end up on Endor, and like Vader comes down there, and they're in the forest, and then there's like all these subplot lines with Calrissian,
Yes.
and the Falcon taken, at the end, and there's like just so I think the characters. It starts off with Jabba the Hutt and whatever that planet is.
Tatooine, Luke's home.
Tatooine, yeah, Tatooine. Which
Oh
is
my
still sitting
God.
there in the desert. Like it's just such a good.
When R2D2 shoots him the lightsaber and it's green and he just starts kicking everybody's ass.
And it's hilarious too. Like Jen Moore was like dying at some parts. People often I think is overlooked is how funny Star Wars is. Like it's obviously not a comedy, but there's so much comic relief. I was inadvertently laughing at different stuff, like when the Ewoks capture them in the net in the forest because Chewie sees the food and like, oh, you're always thinking about food. And they're up there, and they're like, "How do we get out of here? Get my lifesaver." Next thing you know, R2D2 unasked just starts sawing them down, and they just fall. Like to me, that was hilarious. Like because he's like a little parakeet.
He's like, "This is why I'm here. I get you out of every fucking situation you get trapped in."
He just starts sawing, and they go down. And
he's like,
but the dialogue, though, I think is, dare I say, underrated as far as comic relief goes, because even in the opening, not the opening scene, but the first part, the Han Solo is trying to shoot down, cut Calrissian loose, and it's just like, I thought you can't see. It's like, I can see better now, or it's better now. Like just all these little nuggets, they're just good.
I thought,
It's
hey,
a
wait,
great
wait,
film.
I
I
thought you
think
were
it's
blind.
Hey,
It's all right. It's all right. I'm fine. Just a little higher. Just a little higher.
and they up the Imperial, um,
Of course, he
what is
nails it.
yeah, it's just so good, and the relationship of Vader to his subordinates is like pretty cool because
Yeah.
he's very ruthless, but he's also respectful and like, permission granted and well done, and the Emperor's not as forgiving as me, and he's very like kind to his subordinates as long as they're doing what they could. Where the Emperor's just an asshole that would trade Vader under the throw him under the bus in a second to get Skywalker. Vader has
Yeah.
like the loyalty, which I think perfectly complements his struggle of like the dark side and still has some good in him, and you could
Yep.
see that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the only reason. Yeah, I'm
You
rambling.
are in charge, Admiral Piet.
And they all have
Piet.
jewel pods too on their uniform. All the admirals. It's great. It's great.
So that being said, Return of the Jedi uh, was always my favorite. I think last weekend we like Saturday maybe we went to someone's house or someone came, I forget, but I ended up being forced to socially drink, which
Nice. Good
I
for
can't
you.
I can't stand. I hate drinking when I didn't want to drink, like when I wasn't in the mood.
Yeah.
Because then my night's just like a battle to like not have a hangover the next day.
Right.
Uh,
You want to do
so
it on your own terms.
so I was like drunk when like Heather went to bed, but I was like fighting it off. So I started like smoking, and I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm gonna watch. It was like 8 o'clock. I'm like, I'm gonna watch the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and maybe The Rise of Skywalker, even though it is just so clunky.
Yeah. I just
And
watched that.
I've come to the decision that The Rise of Skywalker, or I mean, The Last Jedi, is the best standalone Star Wars movie in the whole thing. By,
Whoa.
by itself.
The whole
Now,
thing, meaning the sequels or
all of it.
the
The whole
whole
thing. The
the
whole
whole
thing.
franchise.
But like standalone, like because it fucks with the continuity of this of everything. Um, it's not like a great Star Wars. It's not like a great part of the Star Wars saga. But as a standalone movie, like if you just went to a movie, you never saw any Star Wars anything, I think that one is the most entertaining.
Good point. You don't have as many
Crazy.
questions, and it's the most fun ride out of all of them as far as like what they're throwing at you
And
because of the continuity.
and dude, even as a Star Wars fan, I loved that it kept diverting my expectations. Like it kept like what I thought was gonna happen didn't happen. And to do that in a Star Wars movie to me is impressive as fuck because I usually can tell where they're going.
And Mark Hamill's performance, great.
That's like another thing. Like we all wanted Luke to be like this fucking crazy, amazing Jedi and just start fucking everybody up. But like that's a fan fiction.
Yeah, he's an old
Like that's
guy.
it's not realistic.
He's disgruntled. He's seen some shit.
And like the number one lesson in storytelling is like they have to be struggling, right?
Yeah,
Like they have to have a
right.
problem. There has to be a problem.
Yeah, they can't be
Or
perfect.
there's no story. Otherwise, it's the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, like what Christopher Nolan did perfectly in The Dark Knight is at the end, Batman is pretty much outcast and a fugitive. I do like how Mark Hamill is like the nicest celebrity in the world. He like, did you see the video of him with the nurse? And he gives, there's this nurse they interviewed. I think
Yes.
it was a late night show, but I think it was Fallon. I don't remember, but you saw that one. The nurse is like a huge Star Wars fan. She doesn't know Hamill's coming on, and then all of a sudden the music plays, and he comes on the Skype interview or whatever it was, and she's like crying, and he's like, I'm giving this to you. I'm mailing you this lightsaber.
Oh.
And it's like do you remember when Adam Scott was on? I think it was Kimmel, but Kimmel had like a sub host, and Adam Scott was talking about how he loved Star Wars and he wanted Mark Hamill to
Luke
come.
Skywalker was like my. I wanted Luke Skywalker. I wanted Mark Hamill to be my dad, or I told people Mark Hamill was my dad, something like that.
Right, and Mark Hamill came out to the
I
music,
like that guy.
and yeah, he's good. And he
Yeah.
came out and like gave him a lightsaber. I feel like he's been doing that a lot. Like Mark Hamill, he's critical of the president, which is awesome, and I feel like he's like the best celebrity.
I
He's
mean,
not too famous where he's like an asshole, but he's more famous than like anybody just because he was in Star Wars. If that makes any sense. He's just he's just good all around. He's cool.
he lives up to the impossible fan expectation of the person who played Luke Skywalker. Like he is as good as Luke, maybe even
Yeah.
better.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
Luke at times was a whiny bitch.
Right. He's a
Um,
little babe, little baby.
Mark Hamill's most recent tweet was 8 minutes ago. Some just, I think, random person posted, "I lost my baby today. I'm devastated. I love this damn dog." Some guy who like lost his dog. Mark Hamill commented, "I'm so sorry for your loss," with a tear emoji.
Wow. See, who does that? That's pretty cool. He's selfless.
So yeah, that's my take on Star Wars. I think The Last Jedi is the just it's such a fun movie, and remove it from the Star Wars saga, and watch it as and view it, take it in as just a standalone project by one guy named Ryan Johnson, who half the Star Wars fans hate, half love. And I feel like I'm in the middle because I'm frustrated with what he kind of like squashed that J.J. Abrams had started rolling in the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But as just a movie fan,
True.
I was just blown away. I was like, yo, this is a Star Wars movie for like 2017 or whenever it came out. You know what I mean? I was like, this is what it should look like, special effects wise, storyline wise,
Yeah.
reality wise.
Pacing wise,
Yeah,
like they took their
pacing's fine.
time with it. It wasn't like, yeah, let's just throw everything out there. They took their time with the storytelling.
And the sound.
Oh, play that
Dude,
loud with surround sound. There's nothing like it.
when Rey and Kylo do that like mind connection thing and the sound goes,
Oh, it's great. It gets you.
what are you doing? How are you doing?
What are you doing?
It would tear you in half. And then when Laura Dern light speeds that ship through the,
It was great.
it was like boom, and then it just goes silent. So good.
It's so good. She's great too. I love that she's in Jurassic Park and Star Wars. Like she's in both universes.
Laura Dern. Laura Dern. Did you see her in Marriage Story?
I didn't see it.
Oh man. Oh, you
Great.
gotta watch it.
Her and Driver?
Fucking nuts.
Is
Her
that
Driver
good?
and the Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
She's
no, I
so
hear only good
in it.
things about it. I just haven't watched it.
I mean, as far as acting goes, it's like top notch. I don't know how
Pretty
all of
good.
them didn't win. Well, because Joaquin Phoenix was the Joker.
Right. I just rewatched Joker.